Well, it's great to be here in Cleveland. I drove from Ann Arbor, Michigan today, and I actually taught at Oberlin Conservatory for 5 years, 1988 to 1993, which is the time when I wrote this particular work. And it was inspired by an exhibit at the Cleveland Museum of Art in 1988 of the art of Superman, of the comics. So they had all the comics framed from #1, which is #1 recently sold for like $100,000. I'm sure many of you older folks my age wish you had thrown out those Superman comic books that used to have in the attic. Anyway, it was inspired by that exhibit, and I was very much a fan of American history and mythology. So this was the first piece I wrote really inspired by American mythology. And if you go to my website and look at other recordings, you'll see that I've been doing that ever since. This particular work, as I mentioned, was written and performed here in Cleveland by the Cleveland Chamber Orchestra in 1998. Then it was went on to be played by the Baltimore Symphony, and then it was played at Carnegie Hall. A record executive from Decca Records heard it and decided to record it. And then since from then on it's been played by orchestras around the world. I'm very lucky to still get it played. Now, in fact, even the New York Philharmonic has played this piece. You can imagine that the New York Philharmonic has played this piece and your orchestra is going to play the same piece. That's pretty good. Program notes, I'll try to be extremely brief. There's 5 movements. Are they going to project the movement titles up here? Oh, I see, okay. Well, hopefully you won't read too much, but if you think about the myth of Superman, it was created by 2 young Jewish boys, teenage boys in Cleveland, Ohio, back in the 30s. It's the tale of an immigrant from another country or world who comes to America and has to hide his identity. That sounds kind of familiar. So the myth is of this person who becomes Clark Kent. He's raised in the Midwest, becomes Clark Kent, and a newspaper reporter for the Daily Planet, and then the adventures of Superman. That start from there. So let's go to the first movement, Lex. Lex is the master villain, the nemesis of the Man of Steel. And he's a corporate mastermind who steals money from innocent people. That sounds familiar as well. And so Lex tonight is our concert master. Yeah. Okay. You're also going to hear Alex is chased by the police, and so you're going to hear some police whistles. Does somebody play one of your police whistles for me? Okay, great. And so could you just conduct the first movement, the first measure, so we'll hear how the percussion is placed on the stage. Okay, great. So percussion 1, 2, 3, and 4. And throughout the piece, you'll hear them playing a variety of percussion instruments, and watch this percussion because they have a lot to do back there. Krypton, the second movement, is the planet warming or not. Well, Jor-El, who was the father's Superboy, super baby, thought it was going to explode. The elders of Krypton thought it was a hoax. One of the elders was named Rush Limbaugh. Anyway, they thought it was a hoax. This planet warming is not going to happen. Of course, it did happen. Krypton exploded right before the baby was sent off to America, where he landed. Okay, and so Silent Night, you're going to hear that theme because when the planet explodes, it's silent. So you're going to hear between Silent Night. We also have a siren that's telling everybody the planet's going to explode. Who's playing the siren tonight? Could you just give us a taste of that, please? Let's hear a little siren. Don't get carried away. The third movement, myths yes piddling. Myths yes piddling. Every myth has to have a humorous figure, Tillenspiegel or whatever, or the ring cycle. There's always a mischievous figure. In this case, it's Vincent Piddling. He comes to the world of Superman from the fifth dimension and wreaks havoc. The only way you can get Mrs. Piddle to disappear is to say his name backwards. I can't do that. Princess Piddle. But Mrs. Piddle is represented by our two flutists. They're going to come up here, and they're going to be playing different kinds of tunes and melodies. At the end, they play them backwards, and they disappear. Then we go to the fourth room called Lois, as Lois Lane. Clark Kent, his fellow companion is Lois Lane, the reporter at the Daily Planet. Now this is an old-fashioned story, so of course she gets into trouble, and Clark Kent, obviously Superman, has to rescue her. So you're going to hear Flight of the Bumblebee kind of music. And we also have very special instruments, flexitones. Could you give us an example of a flexitone, please? So you'll hear the flexitones as Superman is rushing to save Lois Lane from yet another mess she's gotten herself into. Finally, we go to Red Cape Tango, the death of Superman. Now, actually, I'd written before release. I was finished writing the piece. Then what happened, DC Comics killed off Superman. So I had to write a final movement, Red Cape Tango, which is the dance of death. And you're going to hear the tune Dies Irae, which is the famous chant of the dead. And we didn't play this, but could the pursuers, could you just play your opening tune, the Dies Irae, for us? Could you play that? So she will play the Dies Irae things if you can. Very good, thank you. Lovely to see. So anyways, yes, let's hear from the students. This extravaganza is really like the Ed Sullivan Show. If you remember growing up on those shows, which I did, those variety shows where they had different kinds of acts, it really is a huge variety show. It's a concerto for orchestra. You're going to hear all the orchestra, all the members of the orchestra featured in some sort of way. I'm really excited to hear this. Thank you so much for programming. Let's hear Metropolis Symphony for orchestra. Thank you.